Welcome to LGR Oddware, where we're taking a look at hardware and software that is odd, forgotten, and obsolete. And the IBM Model M keyboard is not really oddware in my opinion. Sure, it's old, but it's certainly not obsolete. You can still use it on a modern system just fine. But then we have this beautiful piece of hardware, probably one of the most attractive keyboards I have ever seen personally. I love this thing. And it's just as clicky as the Model M. This is the IBM Model M13, manufactured by Lexmark for IBM in 1994 and for a few years thereafter. And what makes this thing odd? Well, it is a black IBM Model M, which is unusual. In fact, I think it's the only official model like that. Not even Unicomp makes them in all black with, white letters on there like that. But this also has a TrackPoint mouse. Mouse buttons right down here, a PS2 port on the back to plug in other accessories. This thing is really neat, so let's take a look a little bit closer. The Model M13. I have been after one of these particular keyboards for quite a while now, several years in fact, and I finally found one on eBay for around $75. They normally go for about twice that, so I was really happy to get it for this price. And it was just, a little beat up and dirty, but I cleaned it up and I think it looks nice now. Why was I after one of these when I have a lot of IBM Model M's previously, just your normal beige ones? I've got Lexmark ones, IBM ones, all sorts of things. And why this one? Well, it's because of the TrackPoint, of course. This is just really cool. You've got the nub right here that you would typically see on the IBM ThinkPad series of notebook, laptop computers. Your mouse buttons right here. These are kind of gummy. They're not clicky at all compared to, the clickiness. But they are there, and it works as a mouse and everything. Of course, the other reason was just because it comes in black, and it's the only one like this, as far as I know, that IBM officially made. A lot of these later ones were actually made by Maxi Switch, but this particular model was actually manufactured in 1994 by Lexmark, the 21st of December 1994 to be exact. A lot of the later ones were manufactured by Maxi Switch. I've heard those are cheaper. I've never owned a Maxi Switch manufactured IBM Model M keyboard, so I can't compare directly, but I have compared this to my Lexmark boards, and I gotta say, the build quality is at least on par, if not better than those. Certainly better than the Lexmark boards that have membranes underneath. This one doesn't. I mean, these are proper switches, and you can, take them off, and there you go. You got the buckling springs under there, and there's actual switches underneath. It's really nice. They don't have removable key caps, necessarily. The full key comes out of that. So that is one small difference to maybe the earlier IBM branded Model M's that I have, anyway. The rest of it, at least on top here, is pretty well standard for a Model M. Numlock, caps lock, scroll lock, all light up and look and work just how you would expect them to. Really, the only other thing up top here that's different is the G and H keys are shaped just a little bit differently to allow for the TrackPoint nub to fit in there. And if you're wondering if it does sort of get in the way of typing, yes, it does. It does get in the way if I'm hitting G, H, or B. Sometimes when I'm typing things, I'm hitting the nub with this part of my finger, this part, or this part, It's not ideal, but it doesn't get hugely in the way. And neither does this. Thankfully, my hands don't rest anywhere near here when I'm doing things. I usually have a thumb on the spacebar anyway, so that's fine. The only other things that are really different is the cable back here does not detach. It is actually attached inside and it doesn't come out, which is very similar to a lot of the later Lexmark and Maxi Switch models, so that's kind of expected. But this is interesting. So you have another PS2 port here for plugging in another mouse. Now, because chances are you're only going to have one PS2 port for a mouse on your computer anyway, so you can just plug another one here in the back. That way you're only taking up one port, but you can have a standard mouse plugged in as well when the need arises and the TrackPoint sucks, which is, rather often. Now, being that this is a keyboard and a mouse in the same unit, you're going to have, of course, two plugs here. So you've got the mouse right here, PS2 port, and a keyboard, so you plug in your compatible PS2 ports on your computer, and that's it. You're ready to go. No drivers or anything. It's really just standard hardware in there, and Windows knows what to do with the TrackPoint and all that. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to plug this thing into a computer, test it out, and give you a nice little demonstration. Alright, so I've got it plugged into the HP Vectra monstrosity that I have assembled just for such occasions. And, you know, it's already ready to go. I had to do nothing but plug it in, and here you go, it works. Typing on this thing is a lot of fun. There is a mouse in this. It's not the, most accurate program to show off the mouse, but, it does work. So, let's go to something, though, that has a little more going on as terms of, like, typing and mouse. Mostly typing. Mario teaches typing. Hey! Hurry up!
Welcome to Mario Teaches Typing!
Shut your face! He's a really bad Mario voice in this first edition. But, yeah, okay, let's just do this one so we can...
On your mark, get set, go!
So we can smash up things. J... Oh, what? H, J, H, J. Okay, that's a little stupid. Let's do the other one, because I think there's actual typing in this one here, so...
On your mark, get set, go!
Ah! Yeah, so, I don't know if you can see it, but I am occasionally hitting this instead of, like, the G's or the H's. It's rare. Like, I mean, you get used to it. It does take some getting used to, just like about anything hardware-wise, but... And maybe that's just because I don't use home keys like, you're taught to. So, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. However, it works pretty well for typing, I gotta say. It's not like a really big annoying thing to have that right there. Like I said, you can, like, just take it off like that, and it's still there. It's not as much of a nuisance that way, but yeah, I don't mind it. But let's get out of here. I keep going to the mouse. I don't need the mouse anymore. Screw this thing. I may as well throw it out a window because I've got the track point in the middle of a keyboard. So let's try something else here that involves pretty much all mouse, and that is Area 51. And in case you're not familiar with this version of it, it is actually made for a mouse instead of a light gun, so you just use the mouse typically, and you move the cursor around and shoot all the dudes. And that's fine. However, with the trackpad, it's got that sort of acceleration thing going on. You just sort of nudge it in the way that you want it to go. There is a little bit of control over that. I mean, probably more than you might expect. I have used these quite a bit over the years with my IBM ThinkPads and whatnot, but it's still not going to be ideal for this at all. Yeah, and definitely not one-handed. Forget that, because the thumb is just not gonna. It's not gonna work at all. It's all over the place. So if I really get careful, yeah, I don't seem to be able to click as fast either. A little bit. It kind of worked. Well, doing better than I thought I would, but yeah, this is obviously not made for a trackpad. That's why I wanted to do it, because it's absurd. Well, that's it for the IBM Model M13 episode of Oddware. This thing is just awesome to me. I still use probably the Model M more often than not, just because, while the track point thing is fascinating, it does kind of get in the way just a little bit, but it just looks so good. I mean, this thing makes me want to do things I can't appropriately do on camera for YouTube. You know what? I'm going to leave it there. I will be back. Alright, I just had a glorious typing session with that thing. I tell you, that's better than all sorts of other therapy. I like these things. And if you like these things, perhaps you'd like to see some more of my videos on similar topics, or just things that aren't even similar at all and are just very, very odd. That's what Oddware is for, and you're right on the right channel on LGR here, so click and watch and whatever if you want to whatever, you know what I mean? And as always, thank you very much for watching LGR.